All good?
Yeah.
Mr. Willie?
I got one for you. Kelsey, for you, 6:25 of the mark of the third quarter, you took your first shot attempt.
Yeah.
And we talked about your defense all year, and I know this will come up in a minute, but as far as the not having the shoot first mentality, there was a play where you rip the ball out of, you come down court, and then you find Kaylee and you dish to her. How has that, like you did in that mentality, or is that by design tonight? You didn't take a shot in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we had to get back to playing basketball in a different type of way. And I feel like I'm saying to A, like, I mean, I was trying to make a point. And I feel like, for me, I'm better than what I've showed, especially the last, 7 or 8 games. We've had some slippages, and I feel like a lot of that is on me because I have to play the right way, right? And a team like Washington is going to try to take a lot of things away from, like, me as a player, right? They're not going to let me get to the paint. They're going to blitz me on ball screens. They're going to over-rotate. And so I was just like, you know what? I know they're going to do this, so, like, let's take advantage of it and get people going. And, like, I mean, I'm very confident in scoring the basketball. I feel like I can get hot really quick. And so I knew it's going to come, but, like, me trying to force stuff or not in the flow isn't what's going to help us win games. So from here on out, I feel like I want to win. I'm just freaking sick of losing. So, yeah, and, like, it has nothing to do with, like, not being aggressive or anything. I think I'm actually hyper aggressive, but I'm just trying to make the right play.
And Asia, at a certain point, Alicia sparked, right, with a couple of shots, and she ends up coming off the bench. I think your bench outscored theirs 18-15, but Alicia with her key moments, I should say. Just talk about her playoff event.
I mean, with AC and Sid, they, like Becky said, they just did what they needed to do in the minutes that they were given. And they're pros, and they're really good at what they do. And it was just a matter of time that things were just going to start clicking for AC. I mean, she's been in the gym. Everywhere we've been, she's been in the gym because, it gets frustrated when you miss shots, especially the ones that you're used to making. So it's just a matter of time that they were going to fall. And so I'm just super proud of how they stepped up and they were ready when their name was called, because that production is going to be needed later on down the road. And so if we could get that, we're not asking them to go out there and get 20, just little things is going to help us at the end of the day. So I'm just very, very proud of how our bench performed tonight.
KP, to kind of go off of that, so much of the way people talk about Sid is how important she is off the court, but for her to have these couple games where she's really made an impact in the minutes you've been given, how nice is that to see as a teammate?
I mean, Sid's just a consummate pro. Like, she's a leader. She's someone that is always talking, and it was always ready. And so, like, I just think that it just shows who she is, and I think she's going to continue to be great for us. I mean, she has an element to her game that we need in terms of she changes the pace. She's physical. She talks a lot, and she's just fearless, And so I thought she gave us great minutes tonight. She gave us great minutes in New York, and I think that, that's someone that we're going to really rely on, throughout the season.
Definitely. Asia, you guys held Washington to 10 field goals in the first half. 16% from 3. What was, clicking so well on the defensive side in that first half?
We got tired of losing. We lost a lot of games just because on the defensive side, we just were not together. So I think we really just kind of rallied together and said, either we're going to play as a whole and we're going to execute, or we're just going to continue to lose. And like KP said, I'm tired of losing. You would think we lost like 15 in a row, but it feels like it. It really does. It feels like we literally lost 30 in a row. So when it comes to just sacrificing and doing what needs to be done, I think that's just kind of what you saw us on the defensive end, just really active.
I had a lady yesterday I was sitting at lunch, and I had this lady come up to me, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you cannot lose tomorrow." And I looked at her and I'm like, "What?" And she was just like, "I'm sick of it." And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Right. It really feels like we've lost 30 in a row. Yeah. Like, it's not even like.
Yeah, she's like, "I'll be there tomorrow. Please don't lose." I was like, okay.
Yeah, we've been called everything in the book at this point.
Yeah. 3 more.
So are you attributing the win to the lady that Frankie?
Shout out to the random lady.
Yeah, she works at Enterprise.
Hey.
Shout out to her. I mean, no, she's not wrong, and, at the end of the day, like, I feel like when you win, you set an expectation for winning. When you do lose, especially the last couple of ways we've lost, people don't like it in Vegas. People respect winning, as they should. So I think everyone came with the mindset tonight that was like, no, whatever it takes, we're going to get it done. And that's who is in our locker room. We're competitors. We want to win.
Asia, one of the things that Becky had said earlier in the year is that while the success is good and the winning is great, it would help that if y'all went through some adversity throughout the season.
Yeah.
Do you think this
Thanks,
is
Becky.
Cheers to adversity.
Thanks for putting that on us.
Do you think this was a good time to have that adversity with the playoffs right around the corner, just knowing what to overcome going?
For sure. I think our Hell Week last year was pretty much adversity, if anything, right there, smack in the face. And I mean, Washington gave us fits last year. So I think us going through this now is just going to help us later on in playoffs. We have to go through these roller coasters of games and weathering the storms and just figuring it out. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like just figuring out. It's a game at the end of the day. And, you know, we take it to the chin of what we need to do. And sometimes when things are a lot of winning and it's good, no one really talks about the bad stuff. Like, we still have stuff to learn. So sometimes it takes us to kind of take that L or go through some adversity to really be like, all right, hold up, let's regroup and refocus. So, I mean, I don't think she should have wished adversity on us, but it was helpful.
AJ, Andy talked about the defense in the first half. Talk about that first quarter, obviously coming off of 2 losses. Was that an emphasis for you to be able to go out there and kind of impose your will offensively, as well as request your teammates to get out to that 10-point lead in the first quarter?
I don't necessarily know. I was like coming into the game like, all right, I'm about to do this. My teammates just found me in my spots, and I just kind of got going. And I feel like when we get going, it kind of helps us. It fuels us on the defensive end because we have that energy. We're active on that. So, yeah, I just think, honestly, we just needed a day just to be home, to gather ourselves. And then now we're getting back to Aces basketball. So I didn't come in saying I was going to do that. I was just really just going with the flow. And my teammates kind of helped me out, figure it out along the way.
And for Kelsey,
Oh.
one quick question. So one thing that obviously gets talked about a lot is your offense, but your defense has been really improved this year too.
Okay.
You held Natasha Cloud to 1 of 6 shooting and 4 points in the first half. Is there anything that you're doing this year as far as preparation on your matchups this year that you maybe didn't do last year?
Oh, man, I got rejected a couple times in the
You
fourth.
said you stunk last year. That's what I heard.
Yeah, you know what? I would say like I've worked a lot in my like strength and conditioning, so I feel like strength wise, speed wise, I'm better than I was last year. But I also just think like, you know, when you play in this league, you start to get a feel for players and you start to learn, you know, tendencies and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, like I want to be on the floor, you know, and I hate getting subbed out for defense. That sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, like you're a liability, get out. You know, no one likes to be like that. So
I was like that my whole career.
yeah.
Hey, you're a Hall of Famer. We all can't be like Becky.
So it's only up from here, baby. So I feel like, you know, for me, like I just try to have pride. And so, you know, I still have a ways to go, but I'll get there.
Blessings.
Thanks,
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, man.
Hey, KP.
All right, we are still recording. Andy.
Yeah, Becky. So Sid's kind of, you know, a lot's been made about her impact off the court, but these last 2 games, she's given you guys some valuable minutes.
Sid?
Yeah, Sid. What have you, you know, liked or how has she earned those minutes these last couple games?
Just trying to shuffle something up to get something from our bench. That's really all it was. And then she made fun things happen on the court, so she stayed.
How important is it kind of for the morale of the team to see a player like that who's so beloved get those minutes and have that kind of experience?
I mean, they love her and all, but they don't care if, you know, she's playing 0 minutes or 35 minutes. It's the energy that she brings every time she steps out on the court. I mean, the one she dove out of bounds, comes back, steals it. I mean, those kind of hustle plays, like those are winning plays. And when you haven't seen the floor really in quite a few games to come out and perform, I mean, my hat goes off to her. She's a stud. She's a lovable stud. She's amazing. Everybody, if you knew her, you'd love her. To know her is to love her.
That's right. Becky, Asia touched on it a little bit to Chris's question, but you sort of put it on herself, but as far as your team itself, coming out in the first quarter, the way that it performed, Washington came back, obviously tied, it took a 1-point lead, but how important was it to get that energy just days after, suffering 2 straight losses? I mean, as far as an emphasis from a coach's standpoint.
Well, good start's always crucial. It's funny because I feel like a lot of times we haven't started the first quarters
Right.
well, and then we'll come out and play crazy in the third quarter.
Right.
And then we'll play the first quarter really well and play crappy in the third quarter. And I'm like, both those are very, really crucial points in the game of just getting off to a good start. We needed that cushion. They made a huge run back at us. I ran out of timeouts. So they're self-adjusting and talking. And what I really liked tonight was just their communication on the offensive end and defensive end. Really, we've been talking about just upping our communication, and that right there will help our defense. And I thought, they were pretty locked in and did that tonight.
Chris?
Yeah, to the point, Becky, you talked about, obviously defensively, you guys were stout in that first half, but talk about that third quarter. What was that? What was kind of the mindset and approach in that third, because they were able to kind of, sneak up on 30 there?
Well, I thought our offense got super stagnant again. The ball wasn't moving. We weren't cutting. It's like we went completely away from what was working in the first half. And if I could actually practice them, it would be something, because when you're ball movement and player movement, it works against any defense. It'll work against Washington. It'll work against New York. But we got to get better at that because we've gotten really stagnant. And so I think getting back to cutting and sacrificial cuts. Maybe you don't get the shot, but your cut drug the defense in, and now somebody shakes out of the corner and gets a shot. So we have to play as a unit on both ends. When the play's not for you, we still have to play together. And even down on the other end, if your man doesn't have the ball, you still have to play as a unit. There's still a chore or a job that you should be doing, all the time. Offense and defense, there's always something you should be doing.
KB was obviously didn't play tonight. Struggled against New York is kind of a teaching moment for her. Obviously, she'd been getting contribution minutes over the last 4 games. It's a teaching moment for her to kind of sit back and kind of observe a little bit.
No, it's not. She didn't do anything specifically wrong. It's just trying to shake things up and get something from our bench. Then, Sid came in, did a great job. So, I can only play so many people, so many minutes. And so just happened to be, she has to stay ready. But it's more just about shaking up. She's young. She's got plenty of time to learn. Sometimes you just need a vet mind out there. And Sid definitely brings that vet presence and energy. And honestly, she does some things that we don't have, which is get up into the ball pressure, just being that feisty. She's super fast. So we can throw out there against her. My thought in New York was just, go put her on Sloot and let her harass Sloot for a while. She did a great job.
Coach, as defending champions, this is the first time this season, and even dating back to last season around July-ish, that you guys have lost back-to-back. When you take a look at this game and you can go back to the film, and even just as of right now, as you're sitting and thinking about it, what's something that you saw coming from this game with this championship caliber team that finally came to fruition that maybe the audience or the fans didn't see before and now they see now?
Well, I answered this question earlier in the sense of I made a mistake trying to get 2 on the road at DC and New York. I knew we didn't have legs in DC, and I wanted to rest my players and maybe get 1. So in the attempt of maybe just get 1, I lost 2, and that's my fault, because I think if we had more legs, we would have gave New York a better shot. I knew we didn't have it in Washington, and I let those girls, my bosses, talk me into playing them, because you always think you have a chance with them. But there is a real competitive and fatigue factor. So I think, the 2 losses, as frustrating as it is, and like I tell them, I'm a spoiled coach. Y'all are spoiled fans. Like, we just think you're going to show up and win, and that's not how it works. Okay? You have to, being great every night is hard. It's hard, and they work their butts off to put on a great show every night, but we're spoiled watching their greatness, and I don't think we should, myself included, take it for granted. how hard it is to be good on a night in, night out basis.
And we're going to zoom for our final two questions. Nikias, we'll start with you, and then Matthew.
Come on, spit some crazy number at me, guys.
No number for you tonight. Big game for Asia, and it felt like she was coming off of more staggers tonight versus the guards. Was there anything in particular about this matchup that you like to press that button a little bit more?
We're just trying to put her in more movement when teams are double and triple teaming her. It's hard to double and triple team if she's moving. So we put her a little bit less on the block and more out of movement with space. And that's why I said, we worked her very hard this offseason. We're bringing out some guard skills and letting her get into her bag a little bit. Her bag seems to be like Santa Claus, though. It's a pretty big bag when she starts digging in there.
Thank you.
Matthew?
I got some one-liners
Becky.
today, huh? I'm on a heater.
KP talked about earlier that, she didn't take her first shot till the third quarter, and just the way that Washington defends to try to analyze and make the right play for her and being hyperactive. And I just want to know how you've seen the growth in her to go from someone who, early in her career probably would have taken more shots when she felt like she needed to now sort of taking that step back, realizing she doesn't need to always score to find ways for this team to win.
I think she gets it. I think she's understanding her value and importance to this team, and it's not just in her shooting. She has multiple ways to affect and impact a game. And really, talk about getting in her bag. She's just getting in her bag of tricks too, because it's going to make her life easier. A lot of times, I said this, and it could have been Asia tonight too. Asia just got off to a super quick start, but if they're going to bring double and triple teams, Asia, Kelsey, you guys just might be facilitators that first quarter or the second. Like, that just might be what the defense is requiring you to be. And since we're required to play the right way and make the right pass, that's what it might be some nights. But I thought she was just dicing people. She had all the right reads tonight. Just really impressive. And she should have had another 3.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks, Becky.